Hey guys, I'm back. I think. Can you hear me now? Oh boy, I don't know what's going on with the internet. Let me know if it's buffering. It is buffering. Goodness gracious. Is it better? Okay, is it better? Can you guys hear me now? Okay, can you see me okay? Somebody tell me because again, I can't tell. Good, 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 good. Okay, awesome. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out and sticking with. I don't know what. Maybe it's just because everybody's home. I don't know what the deal is because honestly, it's showing. I was just checking my internet speed and it's showing perfect. Like I've got the crazy internet, so it should be fine. But hey, thanks for all for coming back. So where were we? We were talking about the best leaders in the Wheel of Time. So very curious who you all think. I think the consensus there was Egwene being one of the better leaders of the Wheel of Time. Who else aside from Egwene fits that category for you all? Tuon, huh? Oh boy, Tuon is a. I think quite a few people would probably disagree with Tuon. Just a thought. Elida is the worst leader. I would agree with that. Elida is absolutely the worst leader. And I wonder who you might be able to compare her to. Bearlane. See, again, it comes down to how you define what leadership is, right? Like, is it manipulation? Because Bearlane's good at that. Like, is it just results? One of my favorite authors, John Maxwell, talks about leadership as influence, right? So, who has the greatest amount of influence in the world? And it's not just positional influence, but maybe because positional influence is one of is something, but like positional meaning like your station. Like Rand is a terrible leader. Rand's not a good leader, but Rand has a lot of power because of his position. Would Egwene be considered as good of a leader if she wasn't the Amaryllis seat? Right? Like the argument for Perrin was Perrin didn't have any power. Perrin didn't have any positional authority, yet he gained positional authority because he was competent and people wanted to follow him, right? So, like, how do you define it? Just like that's why I said with Egwene, like, do you feel like Egwene would have the same level of influence if she wasn't randomly named the Amaryllis seat? Because she wasn't named the Amaryllis seat because of her because of what she had done to that point. She was named the Amaryllis seat because they thought they could control her. So do you feel like that makes a difference there? Pedro Nile was a good leader, right? But he was misguided, but he was good at what he did, right? But he was assassinated. So does that mean that he actually had influence? Rand was a leader by force. Rand wasn't a leader by skill. And that's, again, I think that comes down to leadership, guys, like how you define it. That's my passion. I love talking about leadership. By the way, if you guys can hit the like button again. I know a lot of you had done that before, but if you don't mind doing it again, I'm sorry, we're on like a different live stream now. We need a Nae'Blis rubric. What makes a good leader? That actually would be an incredible, that would be an interesting video. I'm not sure how well viewed that one would be if I did like the best leaders in the series. But like, I think I see Tam. Tam was a good leader. I think Galad was a very good leader. Okay. So I think it's interesting the way that you might define leadership. I wonder if that's a video I should make. Hey, I actually have a random question for a lot of you out there. Are there any like good cooks, like people that are not just like I follow a recipe cooks, but are like the type that you can come up with a recipe pretty well? Like, are there any of those actually in the chat right now? I'm interested to know about that. Varen's Myers-Briggs. That'd be an interesting video too. Try to put a Myers-Briggs profile to every character in the Wheel of Time. Your wife is a good cook. Here's why I bring it up. Okay. I was debating this. I'm wondering, I'll do an informal poll with you all. Would you guys be entertained if I made a cooking video following a Wheel of Time recipe. Like I made honey cakes or something from the Wheel of Time. Like, would that be entertaining to have you guys watch me cook? I'm interested to know. And then if so, um, like I need a Wheel of Time recipe. Like I wouldn't want to do like a made up like stew or something like that. Like I would want something that's actually from the books that we could make into a recipe. Would that be funny or would that be interesting? Like I'm curious. Um, you've been waiting for that for a while or wanting that for a while. That's interesting. Badger cakes. Because like it would be half joke, half serious. Like I would make the food. Like I love to cook, so it's one of my favorite things to do. I like cooking. But it might be funny just to have like see a different type of Nae'Blis in his kitchen baking something in my own but I need a recipe. Like I was looking up Wheel of Time recipes and I could not find many that are like that are out there. Honey cakes is probably the closest thing to it. I just don't know what else. I don't know. I don't know. So Galad grew up and became a great leader. He learned that not from everything is black and white, but his mom came back into his life. Agreed. Galad to me is a character that actually has an arc through the series. I think Galad is a much better character than Gawain. Far, far better. Far more interesting, which I didn't think that early in the story, but I think Galad had a lot of character development. So brew some ale. I'm not much of a. I don't really. I'm not. I don't know that I'm too set up for any moonshine in here. But I don't know if I can make some alcohol or not. Some of Tam's brandy. Yeah, there's not much food. They talk about a couple different things, but they never really define it. So somebody would have to come up with a recipe for it, right? Like if I was going to do that, somebody would have to like make a recipe. I don't know. Sleepy Time Tea. I've totally seen Sleepy Time Tea in Fork Group. I like that. So, anyways, MK, don't die. That would be bad. So, well, hey, aside from that, I'm sorry I got off topic talking about random food stuff. But hey, ask away. So, what do you guys? What are your thoughts on the show? What are your thoughts on the show being postponed? Like, what effect do you think that's going to have? Like, I have my thoughts. I'm going to be giving that in my news video, totally about what I think is going to happen and what effect I think this is going to have. But I'm assuming nobody's real excited about that. But here's the one thing I'll say to it. I think before there was a question of whether or not they were going to get the show done in post-production, and if we would see a 2020 release. I think that right now. I think right now we are absolutely not going to see a 2020 release at all. I think our best case scenario is going to be summer of 2021. That's my thought. But I'm interested to see what a lot of you think of that. Ooh, William Rogers looking at summer of 2021. Well, there you go. Can't get my head around the True Power. Andrew, we're going to do a video on the True Power, so that is coming up. I'll hit on that briefly here real quick. The True Power is basically the essence of the Dark One, and I would argue that the True Power is probably what the Taint was. So the essence of the Dark One, and it gives a lot of power. In fact, if the Dark One gave Moradin enough ability to draw the True Power, that he could match the Choden Call. That's what Rand thought. But that was actually also the problem, is that once Rand had control of that power during the last battle, hopefully, I guess I need to be careful with spoilers, but yeah, the True Power is an interesting one. I guess I'll stop right with there because I don't want to totally spoil anything, but the True Power we will definitely be doing a video on. Okay. So, and I did say taint. You guys think spring 2021? I think it'll be summer. So I think we're going to see summer. As sad as that is, I don't know, but hopefully not. Hopefully I'm wrong. But I do think it'll be a lengthier shutdown than people realize. I think things are going to be shut down for quite a while, unfortunately. So it depends on how long the special effects and visual graphics take to create for the last 2 episodes and how long production is shut down. They can still release at the beginning of 2021. Agreed. And I'll tell you what, they may get alternative, because here's what also may happen. Keep in mind, they can still do a lot of the writing virtually. Like, they're not just going to be sitting at their homes. Like, they're probably still working on season 2. I would not be shocked, frankly, if they took this break as a break and then finished season 1 and began shooting season 2. I don't think that would be outside the realm of possibility here, guys. So depending on how far they can get with that. Rafe is secretly filming season 2 in his basement. I sure hope not. Post-production, I don't think can be done in the home office, but writing can be. Now, there are going to be people that may or may not have the equipment to do some of the post-production. I mean, you can edit a movie on Final Cut Pro. If you have the right equipment and the right hardware, a big studio can drop $30,000 and buy the right equipment for you to do post-production at your house. So it's entirely possible that somebody could be doing it from their home. The question would be if they're going to spend the money to set people up to do that from home, or if they're going to ship the equipment. The world right now is shifting to a work-at-home environment. So I wouldn't be shocked if they were doing some of it. Are they going to be able to do all of it at home? No. But what I do think is happening is I do think they are finishing out the writing for season 2. Okay, and so they may be doing some casting. They may be doing some filming on episodes for season 2. That may come in the near future, like when they're back filming. So it's possible. Oh, you had to run to work, but you made it. Hey, welcome. I'm glad you made it. Andrew, I don't understand sometimes how the Shido seem to have as many Aiel as all the other clans put together. They don't. They are a large clan. Just keep in mind the other clans are separated quite a bit. The reason they were so large they grew also because a lot of the people that left the other clans joined to the Shido. Okay, so they did grow a lot, but they were no larger or smaller than the other clans from the Aiel. Convince me there is any reason to include the Sea Folk in the show. The only convincing I can give you is that they're a part of a couple plot lines, and they offer a very distinct, different culture. It adds to the world building, certainly, right? So I think that could be part of it. Clan Refuge, yeah, like I said, the Brotherless joined the Shido, so that's where some of that comes from. Sorry if I'm looking down, guys. My camera's up here, and then I have to read down and see your comments, and it's a little lower. So there's no reason not to include the Sea Folk, or there's no reason to include the Sea Folk, is what you're saying. They're in the story. That's a good enough reason to include it. Lots of nudity. Yeah, so David Milling, I see that the Tarvalon website has recipes. They do, but a lot of the recipes I saw were just kind of like Wheel of Time inspired things. Like some people were like Trolloc stew or Murdral fish or something. I think that's what people were just calling them. And I don't want I want like actual food from the show, not inspired by the books, if that makes any sense. So just my thoughts. Should they include the prequel in the show? They're going to, Andrew. They're absolutely, in my opinion, going to be showing some of the prequel. Now, is it going to will it be spaced out in one episode or multiple? We don't know the answer to that yet. But the fact that they cast somebody to play Karine Nagashi, regardless of what Badger Reborn says, Karine Nagashi, they would not have cast that particular Aes Sedai if they weren't going to be doing something back with New Spring. It just wouldn't make any sense. There's plenty of other Aes Sedai they could have chosen. So there's a reason for that. Aiel have corn and tomatoes, so very southwestern. Agreed, yeah. The Aiel do have corn and tomatoes. Am I frozen again? I see somebody saying that. I don't think I'm frozen. Oh, you got to be very, very careful, Andrew. If you are only halfway through the books here, do not. This is probably not the best stream for you to be in, just an FYI. I can't guarantee nobody will spoil anything in a live stream talking about it, unfortunately. So let it go. Let it go. I'm not frozen, but very pale. Well, NP, I am always very pale, so there's nothing you're gonna be able to do about that. I am a vampire. They call me Daywalker for a reason. Androl, they could not have pulled in that many. It doesn't really make tactical sense. You're talking about the Shanshan, I'm assuming. How the other clan chiefs react as though they are equal and straight compared to all the other clans together. I don't think they do. I think the time you're referring to is during Fires of Heaven, and that's because the other clans had not gathered. So the other clans were not together, and so their combined might was about 3 times the size of it. But Rand was concerned that they had the Shido, they had the 3 clans that he had, and then there were other clans behind them coming in. And they weren't sure if they were good or bad. They weren't sure if they were supporting them or not. So that's, I think, why they felt that way. They were never outnumbered. The Shido were never that big of a deal. So, Hail Fin Soup. Yeah, that's a funny one. Only frozen on the head. I don't know what that means. Yeah, guys, again, I apologize for the internet. I don't know why it sucks. I can't help it. Maybe it's because everybody's at home and it just sucks. So, Andrew, you've read all the books, but just got to the prequel audiobook from Nae'Blis. Okay, cool. So you have read the other books. I was going to say, don't be here if you haven't finished the books, because I don't want anything spoiled for you. There's really not going to be anything spoiled from. It's going to be pretty hard to spoil New Spring because nothing happens that you really don't kind of already know is going to happen. It's just kind of telling the story of how they got there. So I don't feel like anything crazy is spoiled in New Spring. Yeah, I don't know. In Brazil, Nae'Blis is not frozen. Well, so okay. What other? Let me hit on some of your other comments here. Hit the like button. Yeah, appreciate that. If you don't mind hitting the like button, guys, that really, really helps. Do you think the population in the books does not match the size of the world? So we don't really have too many explicit, like the population numbers that we have from the world come from Robert Jordan in interviews. They're not really explicit to the books. Like, for instance, he gives Andor a population of 10 million, which is actually, it seems really high on the surface because we only see parts of Andor, and we only see a couple major cities. But keep in mind, like the population of Camelin, for instance, swells to about 700,000 towards the end of the books. So almost a tenth, close to a tenth of the population of Andor is in one city. Now, it purposefully doesn't match the size of the world because the world is basically in decline. That's what they talk about. Like, there were countries that occupy different spaces that there are now no longer people in. Okay, so and he makes a point to say that the world is kind of declining in size, like nations are falling apart, which is interesting because I'm curious as to why that's happening. I think that's probably something to dig into a little bit, but I love that question because I always found the populations, like, weirdly enough for me, I was always really interested when reading the books about like what the populations of the cities were, how big the countries were, like things like that. I don't know why that stuff was always really interesting to me, but population was in decline. It really wasn't. I see somebody, Matthew said population was in decline over the last 3,000 years. No, it was actually in decline over the last 1,000 years. The world actually, this is the Shamael's effect on the world, but the world was basically recovering from the breaking through the Compact of 10 Nations. The Trolloc Wars are what set the world back. It's basically like they lost all of the knowledge that they had gained. Think about the library at Alexandria burning down or falling in. Like that lost, they say so much information was lost during that time. That's very much what the Trolloc Wars were like, because basically the entire world was destroyed. All the nations were gone. Like they had to rebuild again, and lack of stability caused that. And so then you get to Arthur Hawkwing, who united everything, but then, and those armies were enormous, and they had all these people. But from that, it descended lower and lower and lower and lower. So What is the largest city? The largest physical city is Tanchico. The largest city in regards to population is Tarval. Now, that's not to say that Shanchan, like the Shanchan cities, are supposedly larger, but we never saw those. And I should probably close out Discord because it's beeping and you guys can hear it. Okay. The largest physical city, yes. Shadar Logoth was enormous too. So there were a lot of bigger cities. The older cities were big. In terms of population, Tarvalin was the largest. Tarvalin is basically the size of Manhattan Island. Okay, it's 8 miles long and right about 2 to 3 miles across at its largest point. Nae'Blis, I found you when I finished Wheel of Time over a year ago, and I love your content. I love especially the actuarial way you do your rankings and how you objectively quantify things. Well, it's weird because it's a combination of my subjective opinion, objectively quantified, right? So like I try to quantify my subjective opinion. But the reason I do it that way is I feel like, number one, it seems a little less arbitrary, even though there totally is some arbitrary picking for my choices on things. But it also gives you guys, because my goal with those top 10 videos is to spark the conversation, right? Like I want to set it up so you say, oh, no, I disagree, and here's why. And then it has a criteria that you can kind of pull from. That's my thought process. I know some people love my rubric. Some people like roll their eyes when they see it. So do you think that we will see more of Masana and Demon Dread in the series? I absolutely do. I think specifically Demon Dread. I don't know how compelling Masana's storyline is, so they'd have to add a lot to hers. I mean, she's just kind of masquerading as a really obscure Aes Sedai. And she isn't using the Mask of Mirrors because she just kind of looks like that Aes Sedai. But the Demon Dread, I feel like there's actually a story there. I would love to see the story about how he gets the Sarkonin, the Sangreal. I'd love to see how he infiltrates and starts the revolution with the slave rebellion. I picture it this way. So I think it was like season 4 of The Walking Dead, where we get a couple episodes focused on the governor starting a new life after Woodbury, and he builds up with a new community. You almost start to empathize with him, and then he turns into the same person. I think Demon Dread is very much the same way. I think that we can set him up almost as an anti-hero until he isn't. Have I read River of Souls? Absolutely, yes. So I feel like that's part of the stuff that they can add is River of Souls type thing. So that's what I was referring to. Elon, which I guess, are you me? Are you the Nae'Blis? Anyways, yeah, I think that's a really cool way that they could explain and expand a little bit on Demon Dread. Walking Dead spoilers. Hey, sorry about that, but Walking Dead has been on for 9 years. You should know at least some of it. Who and what is everyone's favorite side character or plot? I think that's a great question. Who is everybody's favorite side character or plot that you would like to have expanded? Great question. Topic suggestion: a show about minor characters, such as the Thief Catcher from Tyr. I think there's a lot of cool minor characters. This world is so big that they could make all kinds of Outrigger series. Like I did a video a couple months back on, split off novels or split off shows they can make from the Wheel of Time, and I think there's tons of them. So I think it's really important. I agree with you about Demon Dread. They should do what they're going to do with Logain, expand the character in the TV show. I totally agree. I would love that. I would love to see Varen expand. Varen's like my favorite character, or one of my favorite characters, I should say. Nynaeve is my favorite character, but for different reasons. I just love Nynaeve. Everybody seems to love Talmanes. Talmanes was, to me, he was all right. I think Brandon wrote him a little crazy, like defeating Murderall were these like unstoppable killing machines, and then he somehow lives through getting nicked by a blade a couple times and then fights off a bunch of I didn't like that one. So I'm not a huge fan of his. Like Balwer, I love Balwer too. I feel like Bulwark can be very much Varys from Game of Thrones. Maybe not quite Varys, but similar. Jane Farstrider, like, yeah, you could make a whole show on Jane Farstrider. That would be an interesting show, actually. Tall mayonnaise. Yep, tall mayonnaise. That's what it is. Tall mayonnaise. So Matt is the best, but not a minor character. I mean, everybody loves Matt. Who doesn't like Matt? Hey, Nae'Blis, I love the content. Longtime Wheel of Time fan. Just caught my first live stream with you. Keep up the good work, man. Hey, thank you, Andy McKenzie. Thank you for watching, man, and I'm glad you got to catch a live stream. Unfortunately, this has been like a mixed up one because of the internet issues, but I'm glad you're here. Mahale, to be fair, by the time the Yellow Aja had more intricate healings as well as the Black Tower. Yeah, the Yellow Aja got better. I do find it interesting that, like, Nynaeve just comes in and is like able to do all kinds of stuff, but it's the way Robert Jordan wrote the story. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Can we invite the Thread YouTuber to your channel? Yeah, by the way, MK, can you link his video in the description? I meant to do, I'll probably do a shout out of his on the next video I make. There's a new Wheel, he's not really a Wheel of Time YouTuber. He does a review. His name is Thread. An awesome video on Wheel of Time. Like, literally, guys, I love that this is happening because I'm going to be obsolete at one point, and that's awesome. MK just linked this video, so if you want to see it, there's a guy that made a new video, and it's really, really good. It's a good one to show to people, and he's super excited about it. I love when there are new content creators out there, and I love some of the really crazy good work people are doing. So, hey, and if that's you, by the way, do it. Like, if you've got skill with any of this stuff, do it. I love that there are new Wheel of Time people out there, and so that's a great video. Watch that one after this video. MK linked it here. Like, you can link that and watch it. No, let's not pause while everybody watches the video. You can watch the video after the live stream, which will be done here in a minute. But I would love to see the split of the IO with the Tinkers and that whole story arc. Gab the Reader. I think we're going to see that. That's part of the way back ter'angreal and Roydion. So we're going to see that split. So yeah, Daniel Green loves Will. Yeah, I mean, Daniel Green was just here. Daniel Green lives 10 minutes from me. He's a buddy of mine. He helped my channel get off the ground. So yeah, Daniel's the reason I made a Wheel of Time channel, as a matter of fact. He was the only one doing it at that time, and he wasn't making exclusive Wheel of Time content. And I thought, well, nobody's doing that. I'm going to do that. So that's kind of what happened with that. Does anybody else think the Aiel are basically the Fremen? I mean, yeah, the Aiel are totally, definitely the Fremen. I just tend to find the Aiel way more compelling than the Fremen. So, J. Kim Carden is a solid side character. Why J. Kim Carden? I'm interested on that one. Because he was never really fleshed out, in my opinion, that well. I mean, he was a baddie, but he was never. There's nothing compelling about him to me. Just my thoughts. I see somebody saying the video is messed up. So apparently, if the video is messed up, just refresh the browser, and supposedly it gets better. That's what everybody's been saying. Post series: Ariel and Pavara hunting dreadlords after the last battle. I would love to see that. So I love the idea. I've thought about this. I wonder if you guys would be interested in this. So I like to write. What if on the new website, how many of you would be interested in this if I started writing a chapter by chapter, basically call it a fanfic of a story set in the last battle, a post-last battle world? Would that be something you guys would read if I did that? I have no idea if I would do it or not, but yeah, I'm interested to see if you guys think that would be interesting or not, or if you want to see how good or bad a writer I am. Oh, William Rogers, thank you, my man. Thank you for the donation. You will never be obsolete to us. Keep up the good work. Hey, no, my goal is to be obsolete. I can't wait till there's such good YouTubers out there that I don't even need a that I don't you don't even need me. That there's better stuff out there. But because that's really all I wanted in the first place. But yeah, I appreciate your support, man. I love it. Yeah, I'll probably do that. That's the kind of stuff. So again, I come back to the website. That's why I get excited about the website, because it'll give a chance to post different types of media, right? And it'll give some of you a chance to talk about, like, to post. Like, I'd love for blog posts from people. I want to get Wheel of Time artwork put there, and I just feel like that could be a really fun place for people that are interested in Wheel of Time to just see that stuff. So, does anyone else love the battles of the two rivers against the Trollocs and White Cloaks? I think it's epic. Hey, Josh, stay tuned here in the next few weeks, because you may or may not be getting a video that shows some visual representations of that. That's edited by somebody way better than me. Just saying. Yeah. So yes, on the website or something like Wattpad, it'll be on the website. That's funny. So, with Cardin, we get the Dark Friend social dilemma, posing as a White Cloak, being the polar opposite, the torture and sacrificing of his relatives one at a time, and the questioners. Yeah, I agree, but I just never felt like it was very compelling. That's all. Never thought it was that compelling. Would you consider Avienda's vision canon in your fan fiction? No, Avienda's vision is not canon because it's a what if scenario. That's not what is happening. Now, I think you can extrapolate some things that would happen if some of those events went down from that, right? Or maybe the names of the kids or stuff like that, but definitely not a. I don't know that that is going to happen anymore, because Rand did include the Aiel in the piece. That's why Avienda stepped up and said that. When you become obsolete and film your last video, you should sign off smoking a self-lighting pipe. That is a great idea. If I ever become obsolete, I will absolutely make a pipe light by manipulating the pattern myself, and I will fade to black. Does anybody else think that a post-last battle, Tom Maryland used a portal stone to travel to another world known as the Cosmere and now go, ooh. I don't think that's what happened, but that's pretty cool. You need to pose that one to Brandon Sanderson when he's on the Dusty Wheel. So, Eli, if you do not tune into the Dusty Wheel, you should tune into the Dusty Wheel. They're having Brandon Sanderson on here soon. That would be a great question there. There are some plot lines that were cut off awkwardly that we like, and that we are like, cut it, but these broken threads are part of what made Game of Thrones so compelling. I'm probably missing part of the conversation, but if you're talking about Game of Thrones and cut off plot lines, yeah, they butchered the end of that. So, yeah, unfortunately, that was garbage. But hey, guys, we are going to wrap up here. If you want to support the website creation, I know we hit our goal, but if you still want to get a credit at the on the page there and be a part of helping found it, feel free to donate there. You're going to get credited on the site. Check out the different links below. Like, hey, if you don't have the Wheel of Time audiobooks, now is a great time to get them for free on Audible. Just click my link below and sign up for the trial, and you can get an audiobook for free, and you can start listening to Wheel of Time. So absolutely do that. Join the Discord server. If you're not in my Discord server, you're stupid. Just joking. You're not stupid. But seriously, join the Discord server. Because then you get to be a part and talk with us all the time, and get to have some crazy voice chat with us. And then the other thing, I could still use people that are willing to help create the website too. So if you are somebody that is interested in helping write wiki articles and things like that, certainly join the Discord, talk to me there, and I'm happy to add you to the group of other people that are helping build out the wiki. So, hey, all, thank you for joining us. Thank you for helping me hit 15,000. You guys rock. Until next time, which should be hopefully soon, stay safe, wash your hands, don't touch your face. Goodbye.